And the BookFest continues. Yes, this is Sunday, a day dedicated to writers, because we had such an overwhelming response from the writing community wanting to do panels and talk about things that are more relatable to the writer in us. And quite frankly, if we're a reader, there's a good chance that being a writer is something that we aspire to do. And that is also why we have Gary Young here from Ayahuasca, the Independent Writers of Southern California, who is a supporter of BookFest, which thank you very much, Gary, for doing that.
Our pleasure. Yeah, and and conversely, the writers are big readers as well. You kind of have to be that way. And so now we're dealing with love in the time of COVID, and it requires us all to reinvent as writers, as publishers, which we are both here at Ayahuasca. We have a lot of member perks. I don't know if you want me to talk about some of those, but we have a lot of member perks that more than pay for the membership. We don't have a very expensive membership. We do a lot of freebies. I'll just do a quick thing because I know we want to get into other things. First of all, we are associated with the Publishers Association of Los Angeles. That is a special interest group within Ayahuasca. So we are, and we are associated with the Independent Book Publishers, which is the national umbrella for the Publishers Association of Los Angeles. So we have quite a reach with publishing, independent publishing especially, and we have quite a few experts that are within our organization that deal with publishing as well as the writing aspects of it, and also traditional publishing. We have a lot of that too. So at any rate, we have free meetings. It seemed like all the time. We've got 3 local satellites that meet every month, and they meet in person when we don't have COVID. So right now, they're all meeting via Zoom, which means they're more available for everyone. And so they meet 3 times basically a month. And we have discounted panels and seminars with nationally prominent speakers and all of that. We have a big marketing and self-publishing intensive, which will have a $50 off discount for all members. Holiday party, which will be interesting this year since it's going to be on Zoom. For the Alliance of Los Angeles Playwrights recently, we did a cocktail pajama party on Zoom, and that was interesting. And that sounds
like a blast. It sounds hilarious.
Fun. It really was fun. We had a great time. And we have a newsletter for everybody. We have a publishing brainstorming session, which is only for members, free. And it's with Sharon Goldinger, who's a national authority on publishing. She's one of the top people. And we do a lot of collaborations. We've got iWalk, which is the Chicago branch of what we do, UCLA Extension, a lot of others. We have a critique group, and now one of the cool things is that with Zoom, as Desiree, as you've seen, there's an international footprint.
Yes,
and so we're getting over 100 people at all of our meetings, which is great, and so we've had actually up our Zoom program so that it will cover 500 people, which is really amazing. So now upcoming meetings, just so I can just be blabbing here. We do have a comedy panel next Tuesday, the 27th of this month, at 7 p.m. Pacific. And that is $15 for non-members, free for members. We've got one of our satellites is actually going to be doing a fabulous thing with Marvin Wolf, who is a very well-published author, and he's going to talk about the mystery genre with Robin Quinn, who's going to be who produces this and everything. So basically that is what's going on. We're going to be doing, as the year goes on, we're going to be doing a lot of WordPress, a lot of programs with WordPress, KDP, Ingram Sparks, BookBaby, Scrivener. A lot of well-known authors are going to be speaking for us and everything. So we've got really a lot going on. It makes us a little bit crazy because we're reinventing, as we said. But it's all good. It's all good. We're having fun.
Yeah. Good, good. Well, and one of the benefits is you do have a wider reach now because everybody can do this online. Do you foresee as things, because we hope one day things start to go back to normal?
One day.
And that's the thing. When you're in LA, like we are, driving 10 miles across town can take 2 hours at the wrong time. So it is hard having in-person events
Yes, it
for
is.
not only ayahuasca, but anything.
That's
So
right.
are you thinking of shifting as the world shifts too, and maybe doing more of this, whether there's COVID or not?
Well, we're in the 21st century at the moment. And the answer to that is definitely yes. We do love the interaction and the networking and all that with people one-on-one, the hugging, the whole warm thing. And we get a little of that with Zoom. We certainly get a lot of information with Zoom. But yes, we're going to keep it going. We really haven't decided all the specifics of that because how could we? But it is going to be good. I mean, one of the things about Zoom too is that we've had panels where we've had people on the panel speaking to everybody from Australia. Yeah. I mean, we can go, literally, we have had that. So, and we've got participants from Poland. I mean, every place you can imagine. So why give that up since we're servicing writers of every description, nonfiction, fiction, whatever, children's writers, whatever. So, why limit ourselves once we are all feeling well? We're going to feel well and we're going to keep things going. So
I love that.
Yeah.
So since this BookFest is likely drawing in readers or people who might be new to the writing community, what do you want to tell them about writing, and why is it? Because I advocate for joining writers groups and organizations like yours just because of the networking. But what are some of the things that you'd like to tell them to keep in mind?
Well, I think one of the easiest things to start with if you're starting out as a writer is memoir. And don't expect it to get far out there for people. Even famous memoir writers often don't get very far. I won't mention any names, but we know of a few who have written memoirs and haven't gone far. And we've also known a few people who people don't know who have gone far. So there are, it all depends on what hook you've got. But at the very least, if you write a memoir, you've got something for your family. And that is a very valuable thing. Join a critique group. And these are and we have those in ayahuasca. We have a wonderful online critique group now. And it's really, it's not a critique group in the sense of this is what you did wrong, this is what you did wrong. It's really a support group. And it does help break down some of the things. It helps you read your things out loud so you can hear what it sounds like. Sometimes it's good to have other people read it for you so you can hear it from that point of view. And if you're going to be writing, a lot of people are worried about the money aspect of it, and you should be. You have to be careful. In a group like ours, what we're trying to do is save a lot of people a lot of money because you really can spend a lot of money and get nowhere sometimes. So we're trying to get things as inexpensive as possible, free whenever possible. We have a lot of free meetings that we do, especially online. And that's kind of, keep that in mind, because when you do get it out there, if you have a fiction book, a nonfiction book, you're going to need to have it edited professionally. You're going to have to pay for that. If you want it to be a good book, don't have your sister do the editing. Don't have your dog do the editing. Well, maybe the dog. I don't know.
Maybe the dog would do a better job. Yeah,
I think so. But anyway, no, you do have to have a professional editor. You have to have a professional cover if you want to sell it at all, and you have to have the right title if you want to sell it. Because yes, people do buy the book because of the cover and the title. And that it's wrong to say that that it isn't done, because it is done, especially now. And then the cover has to be visible this big on Amazon or wherever. And you have to know where to put it and where to put it inexpensively. That's such a key. So a lot of stuff to look out for.
Yeah, I'll just underscore that, because being on the PR and the marketing side, I so often have authors come to me saying, look, I'm ready to market and do PR for my book. I just published it on Amazon. Now I'm going to hire you to do all of this work. And I look at it and I said, it should have gone through some different stages of editing.
Yeah.
And understanding too, editing is a broad term. There's that content and developmental editing that has to be done first. I see so many that skip to my sixth grade English teacher. She edited it and she did some kind of weird version of a copy edit.
Okay.
Don't do that until you do the big stuff. And then you do the line editing. And then you do your final copy editing and proofing. But I see that a lot.
Yeah, that's really a key. And also, when you're publicizing, there's a lot of ways you can do it for free. But if you're using a publicist, which I always recommend that, if you really wanted to get out there, if you really wanted to get out there because you've got a professional, don't expect your publicist to be a magician. You're going to have to do a lot of work yourself as well. And there are no guarantees in this business. I can't even tell you how many books are published every day now in this country and in the world. And so all the more reason to use somebody who really knows what they're doing and be ready to do a lot of it yourself. Writing is a very important part of a book, but publicizing it and promoting it is even bigger a lot of times.
Yeah, especially nowadays. And here's the thing too. So when we're talking about self-publishing as opposed to being traditionally published, or maybe you're in that gray area in between a hybrid press or, whatever you want to call some of the smaller presses that are out there.
Yeah.
And I think too, and you hit the nail on the head. If you're writing a memoir, that's probably something personal and that's for the family. You might not need that kind of that level. And that's something you could probably do with as a self-published author, or maybe with, one of those hybrid publishers that can kind of help you get everything done and you're going to have a great book to share. But if you want to monetize your writing, it's almost like that's an entirely different path for authors to take.
That's right. That's right. And if you are writing, you're starting out as a memoir, that's a great way to hone your chops, to just get writing and know that this sentence follows that sentence. And then maybe 2 chapters later, let's not contradict that. Or if it's a memoir, actually, there are ways of contradicting it very creatively. But generally in fiction and nonfiction, you don't want to do that. It's one of the things that a good editor can show you. So, but yeah, writing a memoir, writing anything, just writing, honing your chops and hopefully not being afraid to have somebody read it. So,
Exactly. And like you said, use a critique group. That's another thing. I see authors, sometimes they're hesitant because they feel they don't want anybody else to see their work. And they keep so much inside when along the way, they probably would have gotten some really great sage advice that would have helped them in the long run.
And the scary part of a critique group is that it's your peers. But that's also the good news. So I highly recommend doing that if you have time.
Exactly. Well, I highly recommend that people check out Ayahuasca and your great events and your critique groups and everything that you have to offer. Can you let everybody know where to find you?
Yes, it is iwosc.org. Ayahuasca.org.
Thank you, Gary Young from
My
Ayahuasca.
pleasure. Well, thank you, Desiree. I appreciate it very much. Enjoyed it. Thank you.
Wonderful. And thank you for being a supporter of the BookFest. We appreciate you.
Well, we appreciate you, and everybody stay safe and stay sane. Take care.